Hey guys, what's up? It's Too Tall Tom here. So, a little bit different. I'm doing a webcam video because I don't have any footage right now. I have some Doom footage, but I I want to finish this Dark Souls best to worst, favorite to least favorite video before I start with Doom stuff. So, um, don't have any footage that's long enough to encapsulate this because I'm sure I'm just gonna rant for like 20 minutes like I usually do. But so yeah, now you guys get to see what I look like, which oh my God, face reveal at like 80 subscribers. Who cares? Um, but where I left off, sorry, I have my phone here because there's no way I would remember all of this just off the top of my head. So I think I left off at soundtrack. I hate listening to my voice. In all honesty, it's hard enough just like looking at my face here. I fucking oh. Uh, so I didn't actually watch my video, so I'll start off where I think I left off, which is about halfway, which is the weapon variety in Souls games. Um, in this post, you probably I just made a Facebook post so I could basically remember it. I'd never really do scripts, but this is about the closest thing I have to a script. And in this, I have Dark Souls 3 down um, with weapon variety over Dark Souls 2. This is a hard one for me because I'm like, I don't know if there's more weapons in Dark Souls 1 or it's not Dark in Dark Souls 3 because it kind of it what's it called recycles a lot of like Dark Souls 1 weapons, um, which it still adds to the weapon variety. You can argue, but I don't know the total weapon numbers. I haven't gone onto the wikis and like totaled it up, but I think that until Dark Souls 3 comes out with DLC, I think that Dark Souls 2 had more weapon variety just because of the three DLCs. So Dark Souls 2 and Skull of the First Sin win with those. And then Dark Souls 3. There's a lot of really cool weapon variety. Like the weapon arts were an amazing thing to be added to the game. Um, there's a couple things that I have issue with, which I guess I can get into now that I'm in the weapon variety. Like there seems to be certain weapons that are just like always viable. Like I'm into new game plus 5 or 6, and it's like there's no I'm quality sorcery, so I've got 50 strength, 50 dex, and then I think 50 int, and then like a decent amount of attunement and whatnot. And it's like the dark sword is still the best. Like it hits for 500 damage, which is ridiculous because that hits like a little bit less than say the profaned greatsword, which is a great sword weapon. It hits harder than the fume ultra greatsword if you're doing quality, which I guess that makes sense, but like they really need to change the stat scaling for S scaling, like make it a lot higher. Sorry, it makes me look like I've got like this eye. No, this eye is like half close. Anyways, but uh, yeah, like the stat scaling, they added quality, and then it's like, oh well, quality is just objectively the best type of build, really, because you get the most stat bonuses out of 90% of the weapons. Like even some dex weapons I could just switch to and I'm probably hitting as hard as like a dex person because it gets like an E, like a heavy E in strength, and then that actually, gives it more scaling over people who are above the soft cap dex. Um, so anyway, after Dark Souls 3, there would be what do I have here? Dark Souls 1. Um, Dark Souls 1 had a lot of weapons, all the boss weapons and whatnot. Um, there was a decent amount of weapons that are usable throughout the entire game. Uh, I always ended up using the Demon's King Great Axe or the Demon's Great Axe. Probably my favorite weapon in all of the Dark Souls games, as you can see from my earlier videos. It's just so fun to use on like a level 36 twink. Then after that is Demon Souls. Demon Souls had a lot of cool weapons, and then of course Bloodborne because Bloodborne only had like Like you count how many fucking weapons it had on your hands and toes. So there's no real contest there. I think even if you add like when a trick up in chance forms, oh excuse me, I still don't think it beats like Dark Souls 1 or even Demon Souls in weapon variety. Yeah, it's already like half my face is like bright. Leave the window open. I'm just close that window real quick. So while I'm closing this window, see if that helps. That might help a bit. Yeah, that helped. That helped a bit. Now I'm just in the dark, so whatever. Um, so next is going to be armor variety. I think Dark Souls 2 had a lot of different armors that you could get off enemies. So I want to say Dark Souls 2 had the highest armor, the different armors, the armor variety. Um, Followed by Dark Souls 3, because Dark Souls 3 adds a lot of the previous armors from the Souls game as well as a lot of new ones. Um, but really, I have a problem with the Dark Souls 3 armors. Hold on, this is way too dark now. Oh, worst video yet. Let me see if I can just add a little bit of light. There we go. I think that works. Just a little bit of light. But I don't like how Dark Souls 3 runs solely on the Bloodborne engine without like it seems they put minimal effort into like changing the Bloodborne engine to fit the Souls games. Like poise has been basically turned off in the game, which like fuck like what's the point of using heavier armors like Havel's? But then again, there's another reason that makes Havel's like ridiculously retarded, and that's you don't upgrade armors anymore. What is that? Why did they take that out of a Souls game? Like, you get so many upgrade components that like it makes no sense that you aren't able to upgrade like armors because like that's what made Havel's like the greatest was it was like the heaviest and like the best armor poise wise in Souls like the Dark Souls 1 and then Giants was the best um defense wise once you fully upgraded it. But now it's like it's it's fashion souls because like there's very little difference between like Havel's armor and like leather armor, which is stupid. Like Havel's armor used to defend like 100 something, and now I want to say it's probably in like the ballpark of like 20, and it just is not worth it for the weight it does. Not to mention the poise is removed from the game. So really, like you people who are going around in Havel's armor, you should probably look at wearing lighter armor so you can use better weapons because you are not doing yourself any favors. Um, the like the poise is gone, so there's one reason to not use Havel's. Havel's is not really any better defensively than any of the other heavy armors in the game, so there goes another reason. And like it's just heavy as hell, so like you're really just handicapping yourself if you're using Havel's armor, which is really sad because like everyone remembers using Havel's armor. Like Havel's was the oh damn that motherfucker's gonna take a lot of hits. Now it's like oh that guy doesn't really know what he's doing in Dark Souls 3 because he's just kind of handicapping himself. Um, I like it worked for Bloodborne when all of the armors were like within 5 to 10 points of each other. Like in Bloodborne, it was solely like, oh, I like the look of this armor. It wasn't like, oh, you should use this armor because it's more defensive than this armor in this fight. It's like, oh, there's like 10 stats between them, so really it doesn't matter switching armor. You might take like a fraction less damage from a certain boss, but really whatever. Because I find when you don't like the look of your character, you don't play as well anyways. So that's ridiculous. Maybe in a patch they'll change it. If they change that though, I would have to do like a full playthrough because like if they added poise and upgrading armor, which I don't think they can at this point, like it's way too ingrained in the game, then maybe it'd be a little bit better. But so far, I think Dark Souls 3 is just they made a lot of mistakes, and I think it came from using the Bloodborne engine. So the next one is enemy variety. this isn't really fair because Dark Souls 2 wins because it has, DLC, so it's obviously got 3 expansions, more enemies, and Dark Souls, uh, Dark Souls 3 doesn't have its DLC yet. It has a season pass, but you haven't gotten to see the DLC. Um, I think just base game though, I think that Dark Souls 2 still wins. I think there's more variety in enemies in Dark Souls 2. But yeah, actually, yeah, here's what I have. Down after Dark Souls 2 enemy variety, it's Dark Souls. Because there was a lot of, like, there was, the crab monsters, there was the hydras, there was, like, the cat things, like there's a lot of different types of enemies that had different ways of fighting them, and different, like, strengths, and it was really interesting. Next is Demon Souls. Demon Souls had, areas that had their own like themes. So, there was certain enemies that were only in certain, archstones. That's what I'm looking for. So like each archstone had its own set of enemies, and that was cool. I really need to replay Demon Souls and like see how far I can get and make a character that's like a one to go to New Game Plus 17 or something on, because that's the game that I've probably played the least. It's probably on par. No, because I played Bloodborne up to like New Game Plus 3 or 4. Um, so yeah, Dark Souls 3, I want to say is equal to Bloodborne with the enemy variety. Um, Actually, no, I think Bloodborne probably has more enemy variety than Dark Souls 3. Man, these shadows over my eyes. It look got like just holes where my eyes should be. Whatever. It's a shitty quality webcam, and I'm just trying to get this video out. Um, so yeah, I think Bloodborne is actually like I have him that Dark Souls 3 beats Bloodborne, but I think Bloodborne actually beats Dark Souls 3 in enemy variety. They're probably pretty close. They really reuse a lot of enemies in those games. The next one is PvP. Uh, Dark Souls 2. This is completely like I want to say opinionated, but a lot of like this whole video is opinionated. So Dark Souls 2 I find had the best PvP, um, because it had the least amount of like just backstab the person. Um, there was a lot of different people you'd fight. Like you'd go in, you didn't know if you were gonna fight someone who's like a pure magic build or like a pure dark build or like a pure you know strength build or anything. And like there's different ways of fighting those builds. And I really enjoyed the PvP of Dark Souls 2. I found it was probably the best Souls game PvP because like a lot of weapons were viable in PvP, so you had a lot of variety of what you'd be fighting in PvP. Like I used a red rust sword and the mace, which is like the mace you get in like the very beginning of the game, but turns out to be a very strong strength weapon. And then I used the red rust sword because it had the axe move set for a sword, which has a longer move set and actually catches people off guard because it can reach a lot farther than most swords. Next I have is Dark Souls 1. Dark Souls 1, it's always gonna hold the soft spot in my heart. It just had some of the best PvP, although it had some of the biggest issues. Like when you get to high-end PvP, some people call it lag stabbing. I call it pivot backstabbing. You'll see it in some of my earlier videos. It's when you're say there's two people, and obviously they're locked onto each other, and they're going towards each other. But as soon as you get to this like break point where it's like right as you start to pass, the people will like go like this basically, where they'll be behind each other, so you can backstab each other, and it basically comes down to you have to backstab them when they backstab you because that'll cancel out the damage of the backstabs. Otherwise, they're just gonna do all of your health in one hit and you die. Which there was some other PvP that wasn't that, but like the shitty part is that when you start losing, you're just like, well, I'm gonna just do that strat because that strat just wins. And like there'd be times where you're like down to 10% health, and then you just do that, and you just win. So there's a lot of flaws with the Dark Souls PvP, but I have to give it props because they did add an arena in Artorias of the Abyss, which I loved the arena. So big props to them. I don't know why Dark Souls 3 doesn't have any type of arena. Like why not? Dark Souls 2 added 2 arenas, 6 maps. at launch. Great for PvP. There was PvP out in the world. The two covenants had PvP, so like the Blue Sentinels had their own arena, the Invaders had their own arena, and for some reason Dark Souls 3 is just like, no, we're not gonna do that. I don't know why. Like the PvP videos are incredibly popular on YouTube, so obviously people love PvPing on Dark Souls. What do I have next? So the Covenant system. Dark Souls 2 just wins. Like, come on, you got the Rat Covenant, which is like something we've never seen before. You're summoning people into your world, so you're still the host. You die and you lose your souls, but the enemies don't attack you, and it's not a PvP covenant as much as it is a gauntlet for the person you summon. The way, and a lot of people don't really notice this when they play the game, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, that's just the gang covenant." No, you're supposed to just run. Like I've beaten so many Rat Covenant people because they summon you in and they're like ready to gank you and they're just boom, you're gone. They can't catch up. Like that's you get through the area, you get through the fog gate, and you get a Pharaoh's Lockstone and you win. That's how you win the invasions in that fight. Which is like that's something I've never seen before. That's really cool that you know, and not to mention, it's completely optional. None of those bosses in the Rat Covenant areas are mandatory. So if you absolutely hate how that covenant works and you hate getting like invaded or summoned, sorry, my hair is awful. Then you just don't participate, just leave. Or how about the completely PvE offline covenant, the Dark Covenant with its own optional boss? That was cool. You fought a lot of enemies from Souls games past. You fought Havel, you fought Rickard, you fought like basically King Jeremiah, and it's like that was a tough covenant, but it was cool. Um, what else? In the invention of the Way of the Blue and the Blue Sentinels, which was something you'd never seen before, where a lot of people call it the Pussy Covenant, but it's where you get invaded and then someone will summon in and help you. But not a lot of people used Way of the Blue, so Blue Sentinel more. It's good that they had the Dark Moon Blade aspect of it because you can invade invaders and basically that's also how you can upgrade your covenant. So like that's another cool one. Invasion Covenant. Don't really need to say anything about it other than it had arenas, which the Blue Covenant had arenas. I said that before. What else is there? Sunbros. Sunbro Covenant, self-explanatory. I feel like I'm missing one. Bell Covenant. Bell Covenant. Oh my God! Easiest way to upgrade your weapons. You go from shards to large shards, and then you're like, man, how am I gonna get chunks? Join the Bell Covenant. PvP, 2-on-1s, 2-on-2s, 3-on-2. Who cares? Like it was a fun covenant to just go in. There was no penalty for dying. You felt like a dick most of the time, which like after getting your ass reamed out by invaders, it feels good to be on the other side of a gank sometimes. But yeah, just lots of covenants that you can enjoy, and they have actual rewards, and they're fully fleshed out. Although the ranking system in the Blue Sentinels and the Invaders need some work. I mean, like, come on, when you die, you lose a rank. Like, what the fuck? After that, it is Dark Souls 1. Because, you have Grave Lording, which was interesting. Too bad you couldn't Grave Lord before New Game Plus, but that was still a cool hidden covenant. Sunbro, the invention of the Sunbros. Um, Way of the White doesn't really count, but the Invasion Covenant and how you had to get each one of the covenants was like a little secret test to get into. Like you had to kill the four kings before planting the Lord vessel to get into the Dark Wraiths, or like you had to answer a certain way to get into the Forest Hunters, which the Forest Hunters is another cool covenant. Um, but after that, there's let me see what I have. Dark Souls 3. Uh, I don't know why they had a Dark Moon Blade and Blue Sentinels. Like they're the same covenant. There's no way in leveling up the Blue Sentinels. So like I don't. I guess it's just so you can start getting stuff for the Dark Moon Blades early, but I don't know. Um, yeah, they just kind of recycled a lot of covenants. I'm trying to think of one. Like the Aldrich Faithful is basically the Dark Root Garden. Same with the Wolves of Farron. Like there haven't. like each Souls game has a covenant that's kind of like its own thing. Like Dark Souls 1 had the Grave Lords, Dark Souls 2 had the Dark Covenant, the Dark Divers, and the Rat King Covenant. Dark Souls 3 doesn't really have a covenant that I'm like, wow, that is something I have not seen before in a Dark Souls game. And then Bloodborne, because Bloodborne only had like two covenants, two or three covenants. They didn't. I didn't really find they had much impact on the game. Like, there's the whole like, oh, if you summon a a certain type of person when you're a certain type of covenant, you'll fight. But it's like there's no summon sign mechanic in that game, so it's not like you can go up and pick invaders to summon. It's just like you might use your summon bell thing and you get fucked because you summon nothing but invaders. Next I have is, let me see, boss weapons. Um, I have Dark Souls 3 is equal to Dark Souls 2. I think Dark Souls 2 wins because you can infuse the boss weapons. That was really cool. Um, except for like certain ones, I think when it had like bleed, there was only a handful of weapons you could not infuse. Other than that, you're good to go. Just infuse whatever you want. Maybe complete shit, but that's up to the player to decide. Dark Souls 3, there's only like a handful of boss weapons that are really good. Like the Profaned Greatsword is really good. Um, oh, the sword spear that the Nameless King uses. I'm trying to think. That's the main problem. Is that like when you go into PvP, that's when you're supposed to see like the biggest variety of weapons. But it's like you'd go into Invasion, and it's like, do they have a Fume Ultra Greatsword? No. Do they have a Dark Sword? Do they have an S-Talk? Do they have like? I'm surprised I'm not seeing a lot of people with the Profane Greatsword. It's really good. But like, there's only a handful of weapons that people use because they're like, oh, those are the weapons that are the best. So like, why wouldn't you use those weapons? Whereas there's like interesting stuff with the infusions where certain weapons they don't get very good like physical damage scalings, but then they get like an S in like magic or lightning. But that they end up like all the weapons are kind of the same damage, I want to say. But there's a lot of misstep. Like they they did change some stuff, but like come on, no upgrading armors in Dark Souls 3. You can't infuse any like why can't you infuse like I would love to infuse quality into like half those boss weapons just to see like, oh man, is that like really good? Like the Mira Greatsword, is that really good quality? Probably. Maybe that's why they took out infusion for boss weapons, because every boss weapon is just better as quality, because every weapon is better as quality. Like 90% of them. It's ridiculous. Um like I remember quality in Dark Souls 2. It was like you could get the Grand Lance, which is one of the best weapons. But like other than that, you don't really hit really hard with a lot of the weapons. You can just use a lot of them. So it's fine. Or let me see. Boss weapons. Dark Souls is next. Yeah, Dark Souls had a lot of different, interesting boss weapons. I don't think I really ended up using a lot of them. Like I think I used the Golem's axe, um, Quelaag's sword. Yeah, Quelaag's sword. Um, I guess the Great Lord Great Sword as well. So like there was a decent amount of weapons that I used. I like the fact that in boss weapons in Dark Souls 1, it was interesting that you had to upgrade a certain weapon like a certain level, and then it could turn into a boss weapon. That was cool. I'm kind of glad that's gone though. I like the ability in Dark Souls 2 to just get the soul, go to the vendor, get the boss weapon. Love Dark Souls 3 where it's all in that one hub Firelink Shrine. Firelink Shrine is amazing. It definitely beats Majula. Like for hubs, Dark Souls 3 wins. Um, Final one, Moonlight Greatsword, because that is in every Souls game. I had a lot of fun with it in Dark Souls 3 because when you charge, because they took like the pseudo, what is it, visceral attacks where you charge in Bloodborne and then you stab and then you can do like a backstab. Um, when you do like charge heavy attacks with the Moonlight Greatsword, it shoots the Moonlight Wave. which is really cool. I like that. I like that it's not just the special. Um, then I have second, let me see, is Dark Souls 2. Because like Dark Souls 2, it was cool that you could infuse it with what was it, Enchanted, and then it became a physical sword, but scaled off of Int. Although it became like shit. Like I don't remember the Moonlight Greatsword being like the best weapon. Like this final category is not based on whether or not the weapon is like high damaging. It's just like, oh, which weapon is the coolest. So I really like that you can infuse it with different stuff in Dark Souls 2. And then third is Bloodborne, because come on, Trick Moonlight Greatsword, that's sweet. Didn't really use it because I never really used an arcane build, but it was still cool. Um, and then finally, Dark Souls. I didn't really use it in Dark Souls or Demon Souls, so they're just kind of like there at the end because I'm like, I didn't really use them. Don't really like. Oh, excuse me. I didn't. Maybe one day I'll do like a Magic Knight build where I get like the Crystal Ring Shield and the Moonlight Greatsword. That might be a cool build. But so I guess overall in the end, I would rate them as is. Dark Souls 2 is my favorite. I've played that for probably 600 to 1,000 hours between PC, PS4, Xbox 360, all of them. Um, they just made a lot of improvements. I do agree with a lot of the complaints that people have, but I find the game is good enough, like it's really well made that you can overlook a lot of the issues. Sorry, this grandfather clock. It's 45, 45 2 done. All right, but like there's a lot of good things in the game that you can overlook the issues, like the invention of being able to respec the arenas, the Seed of the Tree of Giants, which added a whole new flavor of the game. Um, like there's a lot of great improvements in that game. Um, then Dark Souls 1, because Dark Souls 1 will always hold a special place in my heart as being the one that kicked my ass and got me into the Souls games. I was, when I first got it, I got the special edition. Was like, yeah, let's play this game. Fuck this game, it's hard. I gave it away to my friend. Now I really wish that I didn't because I had like the metal case for Dark Souls 1. I'm glad at least that I gave it away to my friend who, was a big Demon Souls fan, so at least it was someone who deserved it and wasn't just traded back into GameStop. But yeah, then in college I ended up going back and playing it, and I fell in love with Souls games ever since. So Dark Souls, you don't beat Dark Souls 2, but you keep your special place right in my heart, right in my cold, cold heart. Um, then third, I would say, would probably be Dark Souls 3. It has a lot of issues like Dark Souls 2, but there's a lot of good things that I'm able to like overlook and say, yeah, I really like that. Demon Souls would be after Dark Souls 3. I didn't play Demon Souls enough to form a really good opinion. Like I didn't get to play when the PvP was like really good and really active, so I can't really say much on the PvP meta of Demon Souls, which I wish I could because I'm sorry, but in that generation I went with the Xbox 360 instead of the PS3, which I think I may have screwed up on because now I have a backwards compatible PS3 and playing Time Splitters Future Perfect for the PS2 is amazing. I should do some uploads of that for my ranting commentaries because I basically do the same thing as like what's getting popular now with Leafy Nafaka's. So many dudes just do commentary over over video, but I just find this thing I like. I tried the Let's Play. I've uploaded an entire Let's Play of Fear. 4 views. My best viewed one is the one where I fucking glitched the boss fight and I just melee them with a shield. That was ridiculous, actually. Oh my god, the riot shield is broken in that game. Um, but yeah, so Demon Souls, Bloodborne is my least favorite. I still like Bloodborne. I'm never gonna trade it in. You know, I never trade in Dark Souls games just because one day I'll be like 40 years old and I'll be like, I'll play Dark Souls. But there was a lot of issues with it. There wasn't that many great weapons to start with. It's not like Dark Souls 1 where I'm like, oh, I want to make this character and use this build and then go and play through the game. Um, but it's still great. The story was good. I loved the lore. and I love the world, so it kind of held it up. Chalice Dungeons were a fucking mess. Fuck that game. Like I got so close to getting the platinum trophy, and the only trophies I'm missing for the platinum are like trophies having to do with the Chalice dungeon. And I gave up not because it was hard, but because I got really fucking bored. Like really fucking bored. Oh my god. To any of those YouTubers that managed to get to like Queen Yarnum and didn't get fucking just kill yourself bored, props to you guys. I could oh my god, when I found out that every Chalice dungeon is the same rooms, but with like very, very minute differences in the fucking aesthetic, like, oh, this one is like the same one, but it has a little bit of sand. I was like, fuck that. Like, that's that's so little fucking effort. Come on. Fucking Time Splitters 2 on the GameCube is a better map maker than that. Shit. Come on. Fuck, like where's the like that'd be the perfect time to use, completely different tile sets, lava tile set, ice tile set, forest tile set, like go wild. But no, they're like, no, we're just gonna make underground tombs that look the same as everything else. Like, come on, you're in a dream. Fucking nightmare landscape. There's anything you could do with that. It's not like Dark Souls where you're confined to this is a world with a certain consistency. And even Dark Souls 2 still managed to, spice things up a bit with like a lava castle and like, an underwater or like a I want to say underwater grotto kind of area, the Shrine of Amana, which was a shitty area, but still was like a really cool looking area. I love the aesthetic of the Shrine of Amana as much as I hate the enemies. But so yeah, that's my. It was a long video. What is this? Like an hour of Souls talk. Whew. To any of you guys that managed to last it long through my videos, I thank you guys so much for watching my videos. You're the reason that I still make videos. I look and I'm like, you know what? Oh, am I gonna get lazy and give up? There's 4 viewers. So I mean, there's 4 people watching. Might as well make a video for them. I'm at first I was like, oh, I wouldn't mind getting really popular, but then I realized that like what I want to do, like this isn't gonna be popular. So I'd rather just make it for fun and just as my hobby. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you like this, feel free to subscribe. I will try to have some Doom footage up in the coming weeks, as well as I'll probably do some playthroughs of Time Splitters in arcade so I can talk over that because I find it's really fucking boring when you're like, oh, I'm gonna watch this commentator. Oh, they got Call of Duty footage up. Oh, like all the other fucking like at least now fuckers and I think Pyrocynical they play different games. Like I got so bored of Leafy, which yeah, there's now it's popular to hate on Leafy because he's huge. But was it Armored Skeptic made a really good point where he's like, "What are you gonna fucking do surfing, Leafy? You gonna do surfing?" Like, oh, he does surfing and now he does that gravity tether game. But I'm just like, come on, just play something different, something like fuck Rocket League, fucking League, just any. Well, no, I couldn't watch League of Legends. I don't like MOBAs. But that's another video for another day. This video is already getting long enough. So I thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.